Welcome, welcome, welcome. 11:11 Mountain Standard Time, live with love. Even though I'm in Chicago, we're still at 11:11 Mountain Standard Time. And I gotta tell you, there's been some pretty what's the word? Tumultuous kind of energies, all about, like all over the place kind of energies. The last week or so for me. And I guess the Lionsgate starts July 23rd, July 28th or something, and then goes to like the August 13th. And the lions are definitely coming in strongly. As I was going for a paddle this morning, I'm in the Chicago area and I'm near the Chain of Lakes. And as I was paddling about, there were these statues of lions, and I was reminded of how when I was here in 2022, and then I just kept seeing all these white lion statues everywhere I went in this area. There were these statues, and it was quite amazing. It's quite amazing how different signs come in to kind of show you, yeah, you're on the right path. Yeah, you're supposed to be here. Because oftentimes I go someplace and I'm like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? I had not planned to come to this area, but I was assisting family with different things. And I was also having like strange flashbacks of, it's one of those things. I don't know if it's a people pleaser thing. And I don't know what we're going to talk about today, honestly. I do feel like breath work is in order for us to breathe a little together. As always, we will breathe together. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Love, and it's a pleasure to meet you. I often talk about what I'm noticing in my own life, and then we kind of see what the energies are. And occasionally I will talk and talk, and then all of a sudden I'll pause because something inside of me will basically tell me to quiet down. It's not exactly a like shut the hell up kind of thing, but it's a very like, oh, I need to be quiet now. There's something else that wants to come through, or my words might not be, the human part of me might be getting involved in something that's more of soul wanting to speak about. So that's what we do here when we arrive here on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11:11 Mountain Standard Time. And I keep it Mountain Standard Time or Pacific Time, just depending on the year, to make it easy, because I tend to go to different places and I don't want to keep changing the time for you guys. So we'll keep it very simple. Keep it simple, soul. It's a term I heard once that I really like. Keep it simple, soul. And as I'm breathing and I'm saying those words, keep it simple, soul. As I came on here, I was talking about all the energies that just seem to be all out and about and chaotic. And what's come in for me this particular trip is there's definitely that, that checking in of people pleasing. And that thing of wanting to swoop in and help people or save people. And recently, something I looked at, and I'm trying to remember the name of his podcast, but it has to do with, those things that we develop as children into adulthood that lead us into these places where, yes, it's great to serve. We're here to serve ourselves, to serve, assist in this evolution of consciousness, opening up the heart, living from the heart is really the simplicity behind the simpleness of the soul. Or another word for the soul would be, I think, your electric body is what was came up recently, or your plasma body. You can think of it that way too. And there's this wanting to correct things. And a lot of us have this ability. You might have this ability where you can come into a situation or experience and there's confusion and people are halfway doing things and people are going this direction, and you can almost see it's like a puzzle where the puzzle pieces are all like in different places, and you're able to come in and be like, oh, well, here's the missing piece, here you go, and then boom, 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 pretty much you have a scene in front of you, and it's where you were ending up, right? So that's one of my abilities, is to kind of clean things up and pull things together. And it was something that I avoided for many years, especially through school, being more of the loner, wouldn't approach people, felt like I didn't belong, wasn't a part of all the cool kids, was basically friend to everybody, anybody that would want to come and speak with me, because I was kind of quiet and shy. But I never stood up to be the leader. There was always something that wanted me to, but I was too afraid. Didn't feel like I was good enough. Felt like other people were smarter than me. And I would wait in these groups, these like groups they put us in school, and kind of see what would happen. And if somebody else to kind of lead and it was going all good, I was fine to let them do it. Why make myself have more work, right? So I would not be like the person to raise, like I'm there, right? I can do it. So now things have changed. And like when we think about being a leader, this kind of goes into the whole Lionsgate thing, the whole thing of leading with courage. And recently there were different words and podcasts I was looking at, and they were talking about courage without softness isn't coherence. There are different ways that courage can be displayed, and courage with harshness is one that's considered like out of dissonance, an unbalanced way of approaching courage. And so let me see where I'm going with this. So it has to do with the Lionsgate, has to do with stepping into your courage. And I think this came up recently, but to remain in your softness, not to have a hard edge. And I will admit that the different things in my life currently that I've been navigating, both for myself and other parts of family, that are actually asking, they're like different things asked of me, but then when I go to implement it, all of a sudden there's a stop or a pause, or like, I don't feel like it now, let's do another day. And I'm very much like, I'm here now to help you. If you want me to help you, like, this is the time, because this is where I am. I'm here, you're here, etc. Right? And I do have an ability for myself. Like, I'm very loving, but I also have a point where I'm like, all right, we either got to get this done, or we're just letting it lie. We're not doing it at all, right? And it's difficult when you start to help others, and especially family members, and you've got it all worked out, and you're still staying open to what they're saying, but there's a timing for some of the things to come together that you might know of, just like the puzzle pieces, like where the pieces need to go. If you can't find a piece for a while, you start someplace else, and then that piece leads you to the piece you've been looking for, and you're like, where is it, right? So sometimes when we're not so focused, because our mind can get super focused on the way something has to be, right? Like this has to be like this because this is happening and this is the next step. And the keep it simple soul comes in to, hey, take a breath. Is this the way it has to go? How can you reorganize? How can you take a pause? How can you take a breath? And some of the lessons that come up again and again are ones to show us that we don't have to be the same way. You know, even though something's been asked of me since I was very young. I've had many people in my family asking, "Oh, when you get older, you'll come back here and you'll move and you'll take care of me. You can live here. You can live here for free and you can take care of me," right? And then there's there's a lot of like age, you know, with age, like I'll basically I'll help you help me kind of thing, like will you take care of me, who's going to take care of me, right? In families, as ones get a little bit older, right, sometimes that happens depending on their lifestyle. And as a teenager and a kid, I was always like, oh, of course I'll help. Wants to, oh, there we are, we're still alive. Yeah, let me know that we're still alive, guys. Give me some flowers in the comments. So just like coming to that place where it's okay. It's okay not to help everyone. It's okay if when you help, it doesn't quite work out the way you thought it was. Because there's no forcing. You can't force people to, even if they're asking in the beginning, which can be confusing, and that's just boundaries too. If it happens too much over and over again, it's your boundary to say, you know what, I tried to help you with this before, and this is kind of what occurred, and you're asking for this again, but unless people work with you and you work with them, nothing really moves forward. Things come to a block, right? So keeping it simple, soul. How can you simplify the different things that arise in your life? What things in your life can you apply keeping it simple? Something that you could get your nervous system and your mind and your body's like, I gotta go, I gotta go, I gotta go, I gotta take care of this. And how can you simplify it? How can you bring softness to it, to the experience itself? Is there compassion needed? Who's the compassion for? Is the compassion for you? Is the compassion for another? Is the compassion for the experience itself? Are you able to step back a little bit and kind of take a gander, take a look? That's what's happening right now. When things start to get stagnant or stop movement, that's a great place to start asking a few questions about the route you're taking, the approach you're taking. Do you actually need to be there? You might be butting yourself into a place that you don't need to be there, which was some of the thing that brought me to where I was and here, although there's like a different reason that I'm here. I've spoken to you guys many times in the waters. I was on the chain of lakes today, paddling, taking some short videos of like lilies that like smell amazing. And I found out that people used to come out here and harvest these lilies and make perfumes out of them. And I was looking into the edibleness of different plants along my paddle. I was tasting some of the plants along my paddle, and just connecting with nature. This place in particular where I'm at right now, near the chain of lakes, has a specific, just like heartfelt love for me. This connection of almost feeling like I can live in the forest, which is really interesting for someone who grew up in Chicago. So, or the suburbs of Chicago. So yeah, keeping it simple. How can you bring simplicity? That's coming in. How can you stay in the now? There are energies of purging happening, cycles of things, stories coming through that have played out before, but then are being like popped up and played out, not necessarily played out, but like spoken of, like needing to purge out. I noticed that happening yesterday when I was hanging out with family. Between their side and my side, there was all this purging of stuff coming out, and it felt like we were telling this story for the last time. It felt like we looked at each other and we're like, wow, this is deep. This is not what was planned. We were going to go and just have fun in Chicago. And we both looked at each other and we're just like, wow, why is this happening? Like, we would stop and we would try not to speak of these like heavier things, and yet they still kept circling about, like circling the drain. It's time to flush. I've had this like way back when there was a video that said flush the poop. You guys can go back and kind of like find out what that video was about. But that's what it felt like. It felt like something was circling the drain, hanging out, right? Just like this little turd that it's like, it's a floater, right? It's like, it's time to flush it out. It's time to, that's like energy that's been stuck when we have anxiety, when there's like the PTSD that people talk about. And I'm not an expert on any of that, by the way, but I've seen where emotions, intense emotions that happen to one person at a certain time in the year will surface again exactly almost at that same time of the year, like someone passing and it happening over and over, like they're reliving the grieving process, right? And they don't know what's going on with them. Like nothing exactly happened to bring on those emotions. So that's what was happening the other day, was like this purging of like blah. The story that, do you guys ever get tired of that? Do you ever get tired and notice that you're telling the same story over and over and over? And because it's like your mind is like wanting this person to really understand the essence of what you went through at the time, which is kind of a little bit of the whole, I'm going to hold this now because my feet are falling asleep. It's kind of part of the whole victimhood kind of thing. When you spew the story over and over, and you got to ask yourself, why are you telling this story again, right? Are you looking for sympathy? Are you looking to that you're right? Do you want someone to agree with you and be like, oh yeah, that person's a scumbag? Like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that, right? Is there like acknowledgement you need that you can't trust yourself, and let yourself know that however you were handling things at the time was the right way for it to, like, right, not wrong, but like the correct way for it to occur, because everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. What does that do when I say those words? Everything happens for a reason. We don't always know why. And there's some atrocious things that happen out there. And you can be like, love, what do you mean that it's okay that happened? It's not okay that something atrocious happens, but it's more like, what were the takeaways from what occurred? How did you grow from those takeaways? Did it bring you courage in some way? How are you stronger now because of it? How are your boundaries more clear? How is your discernment more clear? Because it's very easy to go into victimhood. See, it's very easy to be a victim, and it's very easy to be like that superhero that wants to like swoop in and save people, right? And it's all not like completely selfless. I came this direction because I basically needed to prove who I was to somebody in order to help someone take care of something, right? I had to show up and be like, yes, I am the real daughter. Because there's all these suspicions and these fears out there about people, who they are and what your identity is. And it's so out of control. So out of control. But this live seems to be about that, like keeping it simple soul. There were some things that got complicated while I was here and I was assisting, and I asked myself, am I trying to be the savior? Am I trying to swoop in? Because that's an old pattern of before, right? I always wanted to help everybody. It's something that comes from childhood where sometimes it's the opposite. It's not like a parent or family member telling you that you're so bad all the time and why can't you do better. People have some of that. There's also people that have, like, where children will recognize that they'll get so much praise for the things that they do well, and it feels so good that they want to continue getting that praise, right? They want to continue people liking them. I always had a hard time before if somebody was upset with me. Like, why doesn't that person like me? Like, I don't get it, right? And I don't necessarily have that anymore. There's a twinge, but more than anything, I'm just like, okay, well, we're just different. We have different ways. We have different ways. That's okay. They go their way. I go my way. Like, as long as no one's trying to control me and my outcome, that's cool. You want to go do you, you go do you, right? And it's more relaxed. It's not so much like, why do they not like me? What's wrong with me? You know, a lot of us have that growing up. You know, why am I not accepted? Why am I not hanging out with these group of people? Why don't those girls like me? What's up with these guys and the way that they're treating me, you know? So it just, you never know what's going to happen in life. And so you can be the victim, or you can stand up and have courage. You can be like the lion, since we're talking about the lion's gate, and you can stand in the broadness of who you are, you know, and just observe what's going on. Ask yourself a couple questions about how involved you need to be in something, or what this is showing you at this time, and then go a little deeper and breathe and see where that leads you. Keeping it simple soul. Taking the complication out of what the external world wants to show us or prove to us that that is truth, and come back here to where the truth really lies. Okay? So, love. Let's see, I'm going to look at the comments real quick. Allegedly someone else. That's kind of fun. Love, it's the only antidote for the poison we call hate. Yes. I was telling someone the other day, what if people approached more things with love? How would things change? How would they change? Would there be wars? Would there be fighting? Would there be animosity? Discrimination? If people treated each other with love, and we're not talking romantic love, right? But a different kind of love, that divine love of, like, the connection of all that there is. If each of us slow down enough to, like, really bring that type of warmth and nurturing and compassion to our lives, to the people that we come across, right? To the jobs that we do, right? I went to this great cocktail bar in Chicago called the London House, and I'll tell you, England has been coming up like crazy. Some of the reason why I'm here is has to do with sacred waters. And Glastonbury has the Chalice Well, which are sacred waters of the feminine and the masculine. And so I'm at this London House part, and the views are amazing. And there's this whole area that says, you know, reservation only, and that's cool. I'm not going to sit down there. But I walk over to the edge to just kind of get a view of the buildings. And I get like a minute before a person comes over and they're like, hey, you gotta, this is for reserved only, you gotta be behind the line. And I'm like, okay, thanks. And then I walk back and I find another place. And I get a sense that I'm not supposed to be there either. But I'm like, I'll just wait until someone says something. And this guy was already talking to these other girls, and they're like, we can't even just look over the edge to see. And he's like, no, man, you got to have a reservation. So what if that had been different? What if someone like with their job said, hey, yeah, you can't stay there and like linger, but go and like take a photo and then come back and see how that goes, right? Like, be quick, take a look around, and then come on back. And, you know, one could say, oh, you know, if he let everybody do that, then the whole place would just be a mass of people going and taking photos. Who knows? Maybe there's some way to allow some of that to occur and have it not be a chaos type of thing. It's something to try out, you know? Is there wiggle in your jobs? I have, you know, in Colorado, they charge for bags nowadays. It's like a thing from California too, like plastic. It was supposed to be a plastic bag thing, like reducing plastic. And then they started charging for like paper bags too at the same time. So oftentimes there's a checker that as I'm checking out, they'll ask like, oh, do you need a bag? And some of them are like, yeah, it's 10 cents or whatever the amount is. And because I'll ask, you know, are you a place that charges? And then I get a couple checkers that are like, yeah, we're supposed to, but I don't do it. I was like, okay, cool. And they're like, I'll give you a bag. And so that's more like making things simple. It's like, you're still, you know, there's a lot of people bringing their bags now, and then they notice that some people don't have it or they didn't think to bring it, and they're just helping you out. Here you go. Here's a bag. These were all free before. So, you know, and I'm sure there's people that would disagree with me out there. Bosses that are like, oh, the overhead of paying for bags and all these different things. You know, I'm not even going to get into that. What I'm talking about is, how can you be more of a loving human? How can you bring more of that simplicity of your soul in your life and the job that you do? How can you bring it into all of your experiences? That's what I'm talking about. So I have to get on to where I'm supposed to be today. I have a family member to meet up with, but I want to just take a couple breaths with you, okay? So if you're in a place, hand on the heart if you can. I'm going to switch hands here. And just breathe with me for a moment. And I just want you to breathe. Hear my words. Feel your body.